pucks are in deep for Team Canada's para ice hockey team as they gear up for the Winter Paralympics. Liam Hickey and Dominic Cozzolino are the next ones up for interviews from the Media Summit. Let's get started.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smythe and Nathan Clement.
Welcome into Parasport Nation. I'm your host, Alex Smythe. As always, joined by the man who gives 110% every time, Nathan Clement, my co-host. Sir, how are you doing?
I am great. I'm going to be rolling through all the words today. Going to be making sure I get the words in deep for you. So let's get in it. Let's get into this and let's have a great conversation.
Well, Nathan, you're a force on the track, a force in the studio. Let's see how you take this story, because this is something of a controversial sport endeavor that is gaining momentum as we make our way to 2026. So not everything is about the Paralympics. The enhanced games are also making a name for themselves. So this is something that's come across my radar for a while, and it seems like there's more and more momentum growing for this competition. And if you're wondering what the enhanced games are, it's exactly like it sounds like. So this is from their website. We are pioneering a new era in athletic competition that embraces scientific advancements to push the boundaries of human performance. So athletes are not going to be tested for banned substances in this competition. However, they will undergo medical evaluations throughout the process prior to competing to ensure athlete safety. They are also offering payouts and appearance pay for athletes who compete, with $1 million on the line for breaking world records in specific events. Some former Olympians have already signed on for the games. Most recently, British swimmer and Paris silver medalist Ben Proud. The games are set for next year in Las Vegas. Nathan, what do you make of all of this? Just saying, you know what? No banned substances. Chalk yourself up with whatever you want to get the best athletic performance. Like, what are you thinking as a Paralympian and as an athlete?
I'm curious. I'm someone who always has taken the route of making sure sport is clean, holding sport to the highest standard, and I make sure teammates around me hold that standard as well. But there is a curiosity that comes with, what is this going to look like? And how is it going to be fully displayed? Because the unfortunate side of sport, and especially in the sports that I have done in the past, cheating, doping has run rampant. We can just go back to the 1990s, the 2000s, or even pretty well back in cycling's early days and just see a history of performance enhancements used in that sport. And there's even been unique studies and even a documentary that comes to mind of Icarus, the film where a journalist, a filmmaker decides to take performance enhancement on the bike as like an amateur cyclist, and you could see his improvement, you could see his progression. But it's going to be very interesting to see how this is displayed and how this turns out, and just kind of taking in like what sponsors, what networks cover this, and how it's going to be displayed and viewed at the end of the day.
Yeah, there's so much of it. I think there's going to be the shock factor, the idea is like, well, how far can they push it? How fast can they go? The interesting thing I find is all the like athletes who are announced or being promoted on the website and then in the news, like Ben Proud, they're all swimmers. And this is one thing. I mentioned the $1 million prize pot. So there's two events apparently that will have that as a potential. One is the 50-meter swim race, and the other one is the 100-meter run. So two very like signature speed competitions and races. They can win $1 million. There's some good from the enhanced games. They're doing some things right, like paying athletes to be there, to be a part of it. Athletes are getting compensated. That's what you would love to see, because a lot of these athletes outside of competitions, unless you're sponsored or you're endorsed, it's very similar to the Paralympics. If you're not in a professional sport like a basketball or hockey or football or something, it can be very hard to make a long-term living doing the sport because of all the financial impacts of it. So you have the opportunity, you're going to get paid, you're going to get paid, but on the downside, you're signing up for this, you're basically banned from ever competing in the Olympics again. So maybe for older athletes who view themselves as not being able to go down that road ever again, okay, well, here's an opportunity that I can still compete. I can be assured that I'm going to make some money, and who knows, I might surprise myself. But it also opens the door for people who are, involved in the doping world and all this, that it's a free pass. They can celebrate themselves. But like, how do you weigh the pros and cons from this? I'm like so on the fence. I'm probably going to check it out. I hope it spurs conversation around funding for athletes, especially in sports that don't have the year-round impact or exposure that other sports do. But yeah, I'm also like, I don't want to be encouraging athletes to take banned substances for the sake of this competition or view to get an edge.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This isn't a excuse for athletes to take banned substances or dope, but it does, like, as you mentioned there, it's athletes who've had long careers, especially in sports, some athletes who are former Olympic medalists now taking banned substances, and that's kind of potentially even a little asterisk on their legacy, on what they've done in sport too, is now they can be out in the open about it, and who knows for how long certain people have been taking these substances, because at the end of the day, it's great that there's funding now, there's athletes being paid, but there's so many drawbacks, there's so many concerns and questions and just glaring red flags, because a lot of enhanced substances, a lot of these drugs do reprehensible damage on your body and on your long-term health effect. It's going to affect you in the long term for your health, your well-being, and we've unfortunately seen it in the past with athletes who have taken performance enhancements, with anger, with other issues that have come up. And there's that term roid rage that has unfortunately rang throughout the history of sport. And it's one of those things where a lot of athletes' legacies are going to be tarnished because of this, but it is going to be something that hopefully will draw that conversation around finance, around pushing that standard kind of to another level, because a lot of Olympic and Paralympic athletes and stuff we've talked about in the past aren't receiving much funding or much financial support. And I can almost see this as a XFL, Extreme Football League, NFL situation where there's a lot of things the XFL didn't do great, but there's a couple things that you could take away and add into your sport, into the Olympics, into the Paralympics, into that side of thing, with the finance, with the funding. And hopefully that can be that honest conversation that we need to have, because the NCAA has been battling that for the longest time. And finally, now the athletes are being paid there, and now it's time for the Olympic and Paralympic athletes to receive that kind of support, that kind of help, that kind of funding.
Yeah, because like you can't go into this competition without your legacy being tainted. Because as soon as you sign up for this, people are going to question your entire athletic career leading up to it. They're going to say, "Oh, so you've always used banned substances or doping," whether or not you have. That's just going to be part of that scrutiny. But hopefully, it's, as you say, spurs that conversation. We see some positives out of it, and hopefully everyone's healthy and safe throughout this competition. The organizers say they do have like medical staff that are going to be there. They're going to be monitoring, they're going to be tracking, make sure all the athletes are healthy and safe. So we'll see what happens come May 2026 in Las Vegas when this competition kicks off. How many athletes are there, how much of a difference you're seeing in the type of performance. But until then, the questions and criticisms will remain. One thing that isn't being criticized, though, is the excitement, the preparation that our Team Canada para ice hockey team are putting in for the 2026 Winter Games in Milano-Cortina. We have 2 more interviews from the Media Summit, all to do with hockey. We have Liam Hickey, Dominic Cozzolino. So let's circle and cycle those lines, and let's start things off with my conversation with Liam Hickey. Liam, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So this is going to be your 4th Paralympics. You've gone in 2 separate sports. What keeps your drive going, that you want to continue to compete at the international level and get back to that world stage?
Yeah, I think for me it's pretty simple. It's a gold medal. I've yet to achieve that in either sport. So for me, that's what I pretty much wake up thinking about every day. It's what motivates me on the hard days and the good days. So, I probably won't stop until I achieve that.
And you're coming off a disappointing result at the World Championships, falling to the U.S. in the final, but have you had time to kind of reflect on that tournament overall and kind of refocus the disappointment into focus going forward?
For sure. I think that's a big part of our team right now is, we take losses as learning opportunities. It's nothing to get down about. Obviously, it's extremely frustrating, at the time and even a week or 2 after. But I think for us, it's building on that as a group and moving forward. We know what the big picture is, and that's gold in Milan. So for us, it's where we want to focus our efforts, and we take any loss like that as a learning curve and, build off it.
We had your assistant coach, Greg Westlake, on the show right before the tournament, and he said, yes, we want to do good work in the World Championships, but we're focused also on Milano-Cortina, and he described this offseason as a summer of discipline. How are you feeling during this offseason as you prepare for Milano-Cortina?
Yeah, I think offseason honestly is always important. It's a little mental and physical reset, but for us, if anything, it's more of a mental reset right now. We need to take the little bit of time off that we have, focus on spending that with friends and family, because we've got a pretty hectic few months coming up, in preparation for the games. So, that's what it takes, and that's, one of the many sacrifices that everyone's going to have to make to achieve the ultimate goal.
While you're still chasing the gold medal, you have had some other great accolades come your way, including being named to the Order of Newfoundland and Labrador. What does that honor mean to you?
It means a lot. I think I play for Newfoundland and Labrador. I play for the province and ultimately the country. But, every sacrifice that's been made for me back home by friends and family and people I don't even know, it's kind of a pretty special way to be honored by the province, and I want to continue to give back to the province and create stronger foundations for youth, especially in parasport, so that they have better opportunities than I did coming up.
Yeah, and that's a very big passion project for you is giving back. And
yep.
What have you been able to do, and what have you been able to see from your impact giving back to the community?
Yeah, I think it's been a learning process even for myself of how to give back and the best ways to do it. As I get older, different things evolve, and for me it was creating, I guess a main focus was creating a youth program, because when I was younger I had to play with the adult team when I was 11 years old, which is not ideal for development in any sport or any scenario, but thankfully I had a great group at the time that brought me in under their wing. But I think that was one of the key areas I wanted to focus on and create a real foundation. So we actually developed a youth sled hockey program back home for the first time, launched last year. We only had 2 kids, but it's got to start somewhere, and it's worth it to see the smile on the kids' faces and watch them develop, and hopefully eventually be on the Avalon Sled Dogs, which is their adult team, and then hopefully make a national team. And I think we've kind of seen the development of that from Gavin Baggs, who's also from Newfoundland and Labrador. I think he's only 17 right now, and he's the second Newfoundlander to ever make a national para hockey team. So to kind of see that and the development of the sport back home is awesome. But I want to push it even further.
Yeah, and for yourself, I want to have a bit of fun with you. So who would you say on the national team has the strangest superstitions or pre-game rituals?
Pre-game, I'm going to go pre-game rituals because I don't even know if he knows what his pre-game rituals are, but Anton Jacobs-Webb. Every time you look at him in the room, he's doing something different. I have to avoid looking at him because he stresses me out in the locker room. So he's kind of all over the place, but he's a pretty funny guy to watch. But he's an awesome hockey player, so makes up for it.
And who's kind of in charge of the music in the locker room?
Yeah, so we call him DJ Armdog. He's got several other names I won't say on camera, but he's had the music since, we were around the same age, ever since we came into the program probably 10 years ago. Vince Boyley tries to take over the music sometimes, gets shut down pretty quick. He's a DJ, but we're not a huge fan of the type of music, so it's pretty funny to watch Vinny get shut down sometimes in the room.
if you could have any music that you could put on before a game to get you pumped up, what are you going to play?
For me, it's like alternative rock, but kind of a mix. Honestly, I don't listen to a ton of music. I shouldn't say I do listen to a ton of music, just not pre-game. I kind of keep it pretty low key and then just wait to get in the room and hear the music that way. But yeah, for me, I kind of just stay in my own world a little bit, stay focused, chat it up with the guys, and yeah, keep it loose.
And lastly, what is your hope for 2026?
Yeah, my hope for 2026 is just to be successful. Ultimately, that's a gold medal. But I think just continuing to appreciate and take in the opportunities that I have. I'm only 27, but careers go quick. I don't know how many games I have left, so to really just appreciate it. And my friends and family will be there. My fiance will be married by then, so it'll just be pretty special to be there with all the family, and hopefully we come out on the right side.
Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That was my conversation with Liam Hickey, and now here's my conversation with Dominic Cozzolino. Dom, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, happy to be here.
Okay, so obviously you're just coming off of the World Championships. It was a tough loss against the U.S. How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely not the result we wanted in the gold medal game, but I think when I reflect back on the tournament as a whole and the season as a whole, I think our group experienced so much growth. Obviously it's not fun losing, but I think our mentality is that we're going to learn from that, and it's going to make us better coming ahead here in the future. So I think, it's never easy to lose a gold medal game, and I don't think anybody ever says you win a silver medal, but for us, I think it's just made us more hungry for what's to come here in Milano-Cortina.
For yourself, this is going to be your second Paralympics. Part of that tournament, you guys punched your ticket to Milano-Cortina. How are you feeling as you look ahead to 2026?
I think there's so much excitement right now. Especially talking to you about it here, there's a lot of excitement, and I wish we were playing tomorrow, But no, there's a lot of work to be done between now and then. That being said, and I'm just excited to really show the world what Canada can do and what our sport has to offer, and hopefully we can make everybody proud.
We had assistant head coach Greg Westlake on the program recently, and he spoke about how this summer is going to be a summer of discipline for the boys. What does that mean to you, and how are you preparing to utilize the summer as you kind of ramp things up for Milano-Cortina?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think, it's going to come up pretty quick here. And so I think we're in the stage now, and we have been for a while, where every day counts. And we have a saying on our team, win the day. And I think every guy in our locker room right now is approaching every day with that mentality and with that mindset to, get 1% better every day. And we'll be a well-oiled machine come March next year.
Now, you also have taken some time off from the sport just to focus in on mental health and physical health. What did that time away teach you about yourself, and how did that kind of help shape you as an athlete coming back to the game?
Yeah, I think for me, first of all, that time was really difficult for me. I love hockey so much, and I have since I could formulate my own thoughts. Really, I started skating at 3 years old, and so to be without the game for that year and watching the team from the sidelines was really tough, But for me, I'm happy I went through it. I'm grateful to go through something like that, because it again taught me about how much I love the game of hockey and how much I missed it and how much I missed being around the boys. And for me, I experienced so much growth through that time, and it really tested my resilience as an athlete and as a person, and I think I'm so much better because of it. And so I was really tough to go through, but I'm grateful at the end of the day that I experienced something like that, and I was able to grow from it and again rediscover my love and passion for the game of hockey.
You're also the chair of the World Para Ice Hockey Players Committee.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for that role, what do you hope that you can kind of change or help the sport itself grow or develop and evolve?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think we just want to see the game being played in more countries, more places across the world. You know, we want developing countries to continue to put time and money into growing their game in their own countries. And ultimately, we just want more people, men and women, playing the game of hockey, whether it's in a sled or stand-up. But, you know, for us, I think our sport has so much to offer. You know, it's so fun, it's fast, physical, you have to be skilled, athletic, and it really tests you mentally. And so for me, I just think there's so much to offer with our sport, and I want to see it reach all corners of the world. And any way that I can help do that, I'm more than happy to. And that's kind of way that I've approached this role. And you know, I'm hoping to be able to make some more strides here in the future, and you know, share the voices of all athletes in our sport. And you know, I know they'll support me in the endeavor to grow our game and bring our game to more people.
Now, for changing things up a bit, a couple fun questions for you.
Okay, great.
What is the strangest pre-game ritual or kind of process that you've seen on the team?
Well, I think if you ask some of my teammates, they'd probably say me.
Okay.
You know, I have some superstitions that I go through. I like to take a freezing cold shower in the dressing room before the game, so I usually get made fun of a little bit for that from some of the other boys. But no, other than that, I don't think we have a ton. I mean, I would say the goalies on our team are always pretty weird to watch, but that's probably the case with most hockey teams. But no, other than that, I think we like to keep it pretty loose in our locker room, and it's a fun place to be on a game day. And I think if you'd ask my teammates, they'll probably throw my name in the mix for that one.
What's your pump-up song, pre-game or pre-competition?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think it really does depend on my mood. You know, there's a few that have stuck with me though throughout even my childhood. I would say "Can't Stop" by Red Hot Chili Peppers is like a big one. You know, and then a little bit of softer listening, but like anything Tragically Hip that really brings out that Canadian pride in me. Like I love listening to those on a game day. But we have some good DJs in our dressing room, so I usually just let them take it over. And you know, I'm pretty easygoing with that stuff, so it's easy for me.
Lastly, for you, what is your goal for 2026?
Well, I think a gold medal, obviously. I think, you know, when you're Canadian playing hockey, leaving the rink without a gold medal, it feels like you didn't accomplish your goal. So definitely that, but I think more than anything, we want to represent our country well. You know, make all the people who have supported us proud, make all the people watching at home proud. Hopefully provide, you know, some kids or some people who, you know, are going through their own struggles with disability. Hopefully we can open their eyes and provide them with some hope and inspiration into what they can achieve. And for me, I'm just excited to see where this next year takes the growth of our game. And you know, obviously winning a gold medal will really help with that. And that's definitely the goal.
That's perfect, Dominic. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
And that was my conversation with Dominic Cozzolino. Nathan, so we heard from Liam, we heard from Dom. What were some of your takeaways from that conversation? I love catching up with the hockey guys.
I just think they're amazing personalities, and just everything they've been through, reaching that high in 2024 of winning the World Championships, and now kind of everything that happened after the World Championships in 2025, and just that reflection, but also that belief as a crew, that belief as a team. And as they get new coaches coming in now, I think it's going to be a really exciting time with that build-in, that lead-in, and just how dialed in they have to be, as even Tyler McGregor has mentioned in the past, and the comeback of Greg Westlake. I think this is a team with a ready arsenal, with a hunger, with a belief that they are going to take that gold medal in 2026. But Alex, the people want to know, are you a cold shower guy?
No, I am not a cold shower guy. I'm like the kind of person who will take a a medium warm shower, but stay in there 20 minutes, and then my body temperature will just be so hot that I'm sweating after the shower. That's me. I'm like raising my core temperature up a few degrees. That's when I know I have a successful shower. I will do a cold plunge every now and then. I will hop in the pool when it's like, it's chilly outside. I will go and do a polar plunge or swim in a lake in Iceland. But to do a consistent cold shower, to me, I can't do it. I don't know. Not that there's much difference between those. They're exposing yourself to cold temperatures, but I appreciate it wakes you up. But I want to be woken up slowly in the mornings, and I don't need to prepare for game day. Maybe I should start doing it to wake me up before we do a recording. Maybe that can be a pre-records ritual for myself, but I'm not a cold shower guy. What about you, Nathan?
Oh, you couldn't get me near a cold shower. Like when I was a swimmer, we would have to do cold baths and even like hot tubs after races. And there was an instance after a race at the 2015 Pan Am Games where me and a teammate who had cerebral palsy in both his legs were in the cold tub for about 5 minutes. Him and I couldn't walk afterwards. We were crawling from the cold tub to the hot tub, and we actually had a coach come in, look at us, being like, "What are you doing?" And we're like, "We can't walk." He's like, "Very well," and just carried on with his day. But we eventually did get in the hot tub, and we were able to walk. But cold tubs and even cold plunges is not my game. But that is a perfect segue into our next segment. We both know you would not rather be in a cold tub or a cold plunge, but the people want to know.
Would you rather? Parasport edition.
Would you rather compete in a summer parasport or a winter parasport?
Ooh, okay. So there's a few layers to this, because I think about not only what sport I would want to compete in, but also the environment. So if I was just going there and I didn't have to really think too hard about the sport, I would love to compete in a winter sport, because I just think snow makes every single vista, every single region look prettier. And oftentimes for the Winter Paralympics, you're around mountains, which are just so striking. But when it comes to the actual sports, I think I would like to participate in more of the summer sports. So from a sport perspective, Summer Paralympics. From an environment and kind of like atmospheric perspective, Winter Paralympics.
And now
I know I completely hedged my bets on that.
And now throughout this game of Would You Rather, there's going to be some very personal, maybe even shots at some of these questions. So I hope you're ready for that. But the next one is, would you rather be known as a record-breaking athlete or for making parasport known worldwide as a commentator?
Ooh, interesting. So I think I would do the commentator, actually. I would appreciate the accolade with the world record, but I think there's a longer lasting legacy with being the broadcaster and being the one who really kind of gets that global movement and parasport to the world and becomes synonymous with that. So I'm going with the commentary.
All right. And now I'm not going to ease into it. Would you rather have a Chicago Bears Super Bowl or a Canadian para ice hockey gold?
Oh no. I'm about to make some enemies. Well, if you can see my background, you'll see there is Nate Reach's Canadian jersey. You'll see there's a photo of Brian McKeever celebrating on the finish line. And then you'll also see a Chicago Bears helmet in the corner. There's no para ice hockey jersey in my background. So as a result, I'm going with the Chicago Bears Super Bowl. I'm sorry to all my hockey friends on the para ice hockey team. I've been following the Bears a lot longer. That's just the nature of it. I have to go with my longer allegiance, so that's the Chicago Bears.
Well, there goes our chance of getting hockey players on the podcast, I guess, on the show. So
we know they listen. That's the issue. We know they listen to the podcast. So yeah, I'm kind of screwed.
Now, to make it even tougher with the para ice hockey crew,
okay,
what would be harder to do? Score a goal in para ice hockey or score a try in wheelchair rugby?
Okay. I will say for the pure like structure of the game, I think a hockey goal, just for the very fact that you have to contend with a goaltender. It's not enough to just dodge everybody and get to the across the line like you do in rugby. Not saying it's easy, but there's one more obstacle. You have to dodge everybody, and then you have to shoot it past a goalie in hockey. So I'm hopefully winning back some love with my goal. I'm going with para hockey.
I think you've redeemed the show with that answer, but both wheelchair rugby and para ice hockey are brutally tough sports. But keeping it on the would you rather of sports, would you rather be guided down a mountain skiing or would you rather be guided down a mountain skiing or ride a tandem bike on the track?
Okay, so I will go with tandem bike because I tried being guided down not even a mountain, but I'll say like a green or blue run in Alberta at Sunshine Village, I believe, one of the big ski resorts out there where you have the adaptive programs. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't see the variations in the snow anymore. I used to love snowboarding. I was on my butt 90% of that run. So I will go with a tandem bicycle. And you know what? Someone else can be my guide. I will be the power. I have no problem with that. I'm just going to pedal for my life. They'll direct me where I'm going.
All right, perfect. I'll be your guide, but it has to be on a tandem trike. And I don't know if we can get a photo of one of those things up. They are absolutely terrifying. But pretty well, this show has gone off the tracks and we have ran out of time for today's episode. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube, where we have episodes coming out Saturdays and Sundays. Thank you for watching. Catch you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.